Pag-usapan natin ulit ngayon yung Republic of 9344 as amended by 10630. Kasi bumabalik ang issue na ito because of the MMK episode, yung ating Bagwat sibling case. Sa video na ito, I would give two opinions. Number one na opinion ko is being a social worker and at the same time as a lawyer. And next part of the video, yung opinion ko naman as a private citizen or a Filipino. First, yung Republic of 9344 was enacted with the spirit of restorative justice, meaning giving chance to the CICL who are victims of circumstances way back in 2006. Klaro po yun. There's no question with that. There's no debate with that. That's why if you will read the entire 9344 as amended by 10630, you will see that the mechanisms there are intended for the child to be restored and to be reintegrated back in the community. There's a concept of intervention, there's a concept of diversion, and there's a concept of disposition. After the child has been found guilty of an offense, therefore the sentence shall be suspended and the child will undergo a disposition program, either in the rehabilitation center or whatever will be the place that the judge of the family court will order. So sa mga 15 above but below 18, they cannot have their intervention unless they committed the act without discernment. Of course, in 15 and below, they will undergo intervention. But if they committed serious crimes such as murder, rape, and under 9165, which the penalty is more than 12 years or at least 12 years, they would go to the Bahay Pag-asa. But other than those serious crimes, yung bata, if 15 and below, they will undergo intervention. So that's simple theft. Yung intervention, plano po yan na dinidesign ng social worker together with the barangay and other stakeholders, of course, the parents of the child and the child. Pag-uusapan kung paano siya ma-reform or ma-rehab through the intervention program. Pag, ano naman, 15 above but below 18, before kasi i-file ang case, is may tinatawag na diversion program sa 9344, the 45-day diversion program, before the child can be charged doon sa korte. Especially if the crime committed has an imposable penalty of 6 years and below. So, for example, simple theft. So when the child committed with discernment, the child will undergo diversion. Now doon sa local level, together with the social worker, the BCPC, the parents, and other stakeholders. Pero pag above naman 6 years ang impossible penalty, it's the discretion of the court now. Before the child will undergo diversion. Pero sa case ng serious crime, murder, for instance, the child will undergo trial. And the child will undergo trial, nasa Bahay Pag-asa siya, nakapasok, naka-admit. And in the Bahay Pag-asa, while the case is on trial, the child will undergo series of rehabilitation activities na minamanage ng social worker. Now, after sa trial, found guilty ang bata. Automatic yan kasi sa 9344, wala pong magagawa ang judge. He or she will automatically suspend the sentence. Kaya tinatawag na suspended sentence. And aside from that, mag-o-order ngayon ang judge sa isang RRCY, Rehabilitation Center for Youth, na ano ba ang mga possible programs and services for the disposition program of a child. So, ang facility ngayon, magsasubmit sila sa family court, sa judge. Na, judge, ito po yung mga gagawin ng bata, yung proposed activity for the disposition. And of course, titingnan ng judge. So, pag ang judge ay na-evaluate niya, okay, this is for the disposition of the child, mari-rehab siya, mari-restore siya. So, that's why the judge will integrate the disposition program proposal to his or her order. So, the child will undergo rehabilitation for more than 1 year, yung iba nga 2 years. And if the child has admitted to the RRCY at the age of 16, pag naging 18 siya, hindi pa siya na fully rehabilitate, the judge, by the spirit of 9344, binibigyan pa rin ng chance until he or she reaches the age of 21. So pag hindi pa siya na-rehabilitate at the age of 21, meron pa rin other option ang 9344. Ang bata pwede pa rin mag-apply ng ah, probation, kumbaga. And so on and so forth. So the last recourse in 9344 is ipasok siya sa penal colony. And since the law has provided that, walang magagawa ang social worker, walang magagawa ang judge, but to implement what has been provided by the law. Whether personally, sa kanila, they don't like it. But because it is mandated by the law, and they are public officers, and of course the judge is the officer of the court, he or she will implement what is written in the law. Whether he likes it or whether she doesn't like it or he doesn't like it. So, yun po. So, what after ma-rehabilitate yung bata, magre-report po ang social worker sa isang facility na the child has been transformed, has been restored, and he or she faithfully undertook this kind of activities, etc., etc. With the recommendation of the social worker, titingnan din niyang judge. Sufficient na ba na fully rehabilitate yung bata while staying in the facility for more than a year or 2 years? So pag may evaluate yan ng judge, and of course the child will appear before a court, the judge. So pag makita niya talaga, then tatapusin niya, no? Yung suspended sentence, matatapos na din disposition program, and the case of the child will be terminated. And the child will now be reintegrated back to the community, again, with the aftercare supervision of the local social worker or the court social worker of the family court. So hindi po yan basta-basta. May mga activities pa rin na dinadaanan yung bata. Again, bakit ganun? Let's go back. That's the spirit of 9344 as amended by 10620. Now, the restorative justice. Now, let's not blame the social workers na in-implement nila ito. Let's not blame the judges as well because they have done the job as well. So the question now is, can we do something about 9344? As of this time, kung ano binibigyan ng 9344 as amended, wala tayong magagawa dyan. But if you wanted to have the law be amended since 2 decades already had passed, pwede. So that's the first part of the video. The second part of the video, this is now as a private citizen, as a fellow Filipino. Siguro high time na balikan yung 9344 because that was in 2006. Baka pwedeng balikan doon yung the process of discernment. The process of discernment, every child who committed a crime, dadaan siya ng discernment, especially 15 above but below 18. So the tool being used in the first crime committed is the same tool to be used in the second time around that he committed the crime. Kung ako ang bata, matalino ako, alam ko na ang magiging sagot ng mga nito, no? So kasi there are negative questions. So pwede kong i-manipulate ng bata yung kanyang second na discernment, na without discernment na siya. However, depende yun. Now, again, how about for those crime committed na serious crime like murder? If you are 15 above but below 18, again, pag ma-rehabilitate ka, pwede ka nang makabalik sa komunidad. Pag hindi ka ma-rehabilitate after the time given by the family court, so saka ka pa lang papasok doon sa penal colony. Of course, with the discretion of the judge. Kasi kung may other option pa like agricultural rehabilitation camp na ginagawa yun ngayon ng JJWC, pwede kang ilagay doon before you'll be put in the penal colony. So that's how the restorative justice works in 9344. Pero sa akin, as personal opinion, being a private citizen, no, in this part of the video, baka pwedeng i-revisit yung mga serious crimes, yung mga krimen na makomit ng bata na mayroong implication doon sa grieving family. Like for example, murder, homicide, rape. Baka pwedeng bisitahin yun. I don't know how, I don't know kung ano ang ilalagay, but baka pwedeng bisitahin. Sa mga victimless crime naman, like for example, 9165, possession. So, pwedeng iba din ang treatment doon. But for me, baka lang pwedeng balikan. Uh, Again, that's the wisdom of the Congress and wisdom of the JGWC, the wisdom of the DSWD, the wisdom of our professionals, psychologists, and even psychiatrists, social workers. So baka pwedeng balikan lang. High time na ba na i-amend? Pwedeng i-amend siguro. But for me, baka tingnan doon sa proseso ng sa discernment. And of course, baka may leeway doon. Not leeway, baka may ano doon sa mga serious crimes committed such as murder. Pag committed, found guilty yung bata, saan ba siya? Papasok ba siya ng RRC1? Or baka doon na siya diretso sa agricultural camp? Or meron siyang time na mag-suspend doon sa agricultural camp, then meron din siyang period na mag-stay doon sa penal colony na designed for children para ma-appreciate, ma-feel ng grieving family na there is justice. So, pwedeng i-explore yung ganun. But, again, that's the wisdom of the Congress and sa mga experts na kanilang i-invite the moment na re-repasuhin nila, mag-revise o mag-amend sila ng batas na ito. So, that's my opinion as a Filipino person, as a Pinoy, kapwa Pinoy. So, yun lang. As a professional, let us not blame the social workers and the judges or the judge kasi ginagawa lang din ang trabaho nila as mandated under 9344.